down. I never understood that you gotta learn to swim, you're gonna drown. People think I'm riding high, but I feel so low. I try to be a good man, but life keeps beating me down,
Welcome to the Stadium Pulse, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful fall day. I don't know about y'all. I live in this state of Texas where it could be maybe a day of heat. I mean, we're talking, or a day of fall, and I will take these 80-degree days every single time. We're in week 2. Actually, let's close the book on week 2. We're going into week 3. This is the Stadium Pulse, a college football show, only college football around here, powered by Kretschmann Media. My name is Tegan Randolph, your host. We've had a lot of new people around, so I need to take a moment for the next couple of episodes to reintroduce myself because we're having a lot of new people come to the channel. I appreciate all the interactions that you guys have had, and it's been really awesome to see this fan base grow, because I know if you're watching this show when we got week 1 of NFL going on, you are a diehard college football fan, and those are the people that I want to interact with and speak with. We have a loaded show. I tried to warn you. If you did not go watch the Thursday and the Tuesday show, I warned people time and time again that it was going to be a chaotic weekend. It's always the ones where they will try to tell you, oh, nothing's going on. Week 3 is going to be better than this. You don't have to worry about week 2 of the college football season. It's just Oklahoma, Michigan. You could probably just go watch Jets, Steelers, or you could go watch Bills, Ravens the next day. Don't waste your time. We got chaos. Number 12 goes down. Number 13 goes down. I believe number 18 goes down. And we had some weird games too that we'll talk about today. Let me give you a run of the topics. So if you want to jump around on the show, we have about 30 minutes each Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We're going to talk a little bit about Arch and how he looks. Looks like there may be a shoulder injury he is dealing with. We got to talk about Billy Napier and the Florida Gators after they lost to USF. John Napier in Michigan, of course. And then some quick recaps. Clemson looking a little weird against Troy. Illinois beating Duke. If you are an audio listener, I just did air quotes after the word beat. Iowa loses to Iowa State. Baylor, SMU had no interest in playing defense. And then we have to talk about the border war, which will be known as no other name. ESPN can miss me with the whole border showdown. Come on now. That rivalry being back after 11 years is incredible. Real quick on Arch. We won't spend too much time on him. I watched his entire game tape, and he looked better. There's something wrong with his shoulder. There's clips you can find on Twitter that are very easy to find. There's something wrong with his shoulder. When he's trying to like really rip it into a window, he's wincing. He's playing through something. It could be something that we saw with like Baker Mayfield in his last year with the Cleveland Browns, where it's a shoulder injury that you can play through, but it's going to be painful. And honestly, it may be just for the testament of the pressure of his name. I respect it, but it's also one of those things where if it's causing you to lose football games like we saw against Ohio State, and his mechanics are wonky because he's trying to work around that pain, he shouldn't be on the football field. Now, he did have good moments. A lot of like House of Highlights and Hayes Fawcett will tell you that he played incredible. He played fine. He played better than what we saw, but the bar was in the floor. He played better. There's still some layups that are being missed. The wide receivers are just not on time with him. Ryan Wingo has been severely disappointing. Parker Livingston's been the best wide receiver on this team. Ryan Wingo has just been a disappointment. There's easy drops. The routes aren't as crisp. He was someone that I thought was going to be a very good player this year, and he could still be that. It's 2 weeks, but he's been quite disappointing. And Arch, it's just the little things that are still getting better. But if it's an injury, that's the problem. We may put a pause for the month of September to talk about Arch Manning. I just wanted to get a pulse on it against San Jose State. And I thought they would dominate a little bit more, but you know, a win is a win, as most coaches would say, and there's still a long road to go. He said it himself in a post-game interview that he still needs to get better. So it shouldn't be a hot take for me to say I wasn't overly impressed with what Arch had to do. I'm taking a breath. I'm taking a moment. for dramatic purposes. Florida. Geez, Florida. It might be over for Billy Napier. He has to walk the finest of lines for the rest of the season. You could not afford with this schedule to trip up like this. This is inexcusable. At home, 3 possession favorites. USF's a damn good team. Let me just get this out of the way. Byron Brown, Alex Golish, this coaching staff, USF is a damn good football program. I think they should get an invite to the Big 12. This is a damn good football team. You do not lose to USF if you're Florida with DJ Lagway and the staff that's been built there, the team that's been built there, knowing what you're looking down. And what you're looking down is at LSU, at Miami, a bye week, Texas, at Texas A&M. Did I mention that they still have Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State, who looks really good, and Georgia still on that schedule? You couldn't afford a loss to USF. This is a fine line that he has to walk now. The problem, and what I talked about, if you watch some of the early episodes of the Stadium Pulse, was the concern that I had for DJ Lagway was not rooted in his talent and his ability. It's the fact that he's just missed so much practice time. And he looked like a quarterback that had missed practice time. And did Florida have an identity that they can shift gears to trust that they can go win a sloppy game like that? Can they go win a gross game when the passing attack's not moving well? Can they rely on the run? Can they win a gross game? Because that just tends to happen in the SEC. You get these matchups where it ends up being 17-10 going into the fourth quarter. Both offenses are struggling to move the football, and Florida choked it away. What's the deal with players spitting on people? What's the deal? That last drive by the Florida defense reminded me of, was it Marco Jones, if I'm remembering correct? Marco Wilson throwing his cleat, costing them the game, a penalty. 2 major penalties by the Florida Gators to put USF in a position to go get a screen pass, run down the right sideline, and get into position to kick the game-winning field goal. Inexcusable. Against a good, well-coached football program that USF is, you can't do that type of stuff. That's inexcusable. That lands on the shoulders of Billy Napier. It's one of those things where, like, I'm baffled. I knew there was going to be an upset this week. I warned you guys. And even myself didn't believe it was going to be USF versus Florida because I felt like Billy Napier and this program, they had been doing everything right internally in the way that they practice. Everyone that had visited the Florida program had said they move like the old Alabamas, the Georgias of the world. They believe that their culture and the way that they do things, their process, sooner or later was going to yield results. And that might not be the case. Like I said, LSU, Miami, Texas A&M, these are physical football programs right now. LSU is going to play physical. They had a weird game against Louisiana Tech. But you have to go to Death Valley, the now true Death Valley, obviously, because they beat Clemson. They have to go to Miami, a physical football team with a veteran quarterback who you cannot afford to do these types of mistakes against. Obviously, you get the bye week, and then by then you're playing probably a healthy Arch Manning in a very, very good defense. And then you have to go travel to Kyle Field and play Texas A&M, a physical football team that more than likely, based on how I think their season's going to look out, they need that game. They need to win that game. Florida, very disappointing. And shout out to USF because people obviously are going to want to talk about Florida, and I get it. Understandably, you of course are going to talk about Florida. But USF deserves so much credit. They deserve to be ranked. They've now beaten back-to-back top 25 teams. They look like a program and a team that is in the driver's seat for a college football playoff spot. We could be in the world where we get 2 group of 5 teams. I mean, the American Athletic Conference looks real damn good right now. USF looks really good. But Billy just, it was one of those guys that I was in his camp, and I knew out of Oklahoma, Auburn, and Florida, 3 teams that have extremely high amounts of pressure that this coaching staff yield results this year. And I thought Florida was going to be at the bottom of the barrel in terms of teams that was, I guess, less likely to flame out. And they may be the team that flames out. It's a bad loss by Florida. One that I don't think they can be perfected for the rest of the year, because I don't even think prime Alabama teams, 2019 LSU may lose a game against this schedule. Before we get into the rest of the week 2 matchups, because we're going to have to speed run through a lot of these transparently, leave a like, leave a comment. I love interacting with you guys. Truthfully, it is one of my favorite parts. Every time during lunchtime, I open up my YouTube app. I open up my TikTok at Tegan Randolph. If you want to go check it out, I post every single day. I love talking college football with you guys. This is what I'm meant to do. And I'm so convicted and confident that I was meant to talk about college football. And so I appreciate everyone at Kretschmann Media for giving me an opportunity to do so. John Napier goes 21 of 34, 270 passing yards, a touchdown, an interception. But here's the interesting stat with Oklahoma. 19 carries and 70 yards. Welcome to the John Napier Show, everyone. I've been harping on this since February. John Napier is electric. This dude, if he was still at Wazoo, he'd be electric. But the fact that he's on the grand stage for Oklahoma, reviving this program with Brent Venables, John Napier is electric. He carried this offense on his back. Now, shout out to Deion Burks, someone that I think is going to be a very dynamic wide receiver for the rest of the season. This was the John Napier Show. It was truly, we need to do quarterback power because we can't block with 5. We need the running back to help us block. And if we get into third down, we need John to go make a play. If we're in the goal line, we need John to go make a play. When we're in a tough second and long and we've dialed something up, John's going to make a scramble and throw an absolute dime. The big stat line here is 9 for 16 on third down. And when you face a Michigan team on the road with a true freshman quarterback going 3 for 14 on third down, you're going to win that football game, even when you lose the turnover battle by 1. Now, John Napier is going to have bad moments. I think we can all agree that he's going to have some really, really bad moments on tape. And when we get to the NFL draft, that's going to be a completely different conversation. But right now, it's fun. He's kind of like a sugar rush, kind of like a Slurpee out of 7-Eleven. You know it's going to probably upset your stomach later, but goddamn, it's fun right now. And John Napier, the gunslinging, the creativity in the backfield, the dude is the archetype of what you want from a Heisman level quarterback. And then on the flip side, when we talk about Michigan, the conservative play calling concerns me. I get it. It's a true freshman quarterback second game. Brent Venables makes 6-year quarterbacks look like true freshmen. I get it. And I don't even put this on Bryce Underwood's shoulders because I could see the frustration building up. It's miscommunications. There's RPOs that are ending up looking like wide receiver blocking downfield. There's penalty flags. He's turning around thinking Justice Haynes is going to be there for the play action, and he's on the other side. This is a young football team with wide receivers that can't really separate at a high level. And I promise you, I think Cole Kublik put it best. Spring transfer wide receivers are going to look at Michigan like spring breakers look at warm weather. It's just going to match. They're going to get some weapons sooner or later. My question is, can we shift a little bit away? Not saying you can't have it in your arsenal, but can Chip Lindsey shift away from having 7 offensive linemen? I understand you had Klein not there, your star tight end, your captain. I get it. But can we open up the playbook a little bit? Because it felt like once the game was out of reach, Bryce Underwood then got an opportunity to make plays. And to be fair, he's forcing it. The Oklahoma defense doesn't have the ambiguity to not know what's going to happen. They know that Bryce has to make plays. And it started to stutter out. You had the big 75-yard run. He had a deep shot to McCauley that was a little underthrown, but a catch is a catch. It still counts for the stats. It just seemed like Bryce was just building on frustration. There was a moment against him and Justice Haynes. That's what competitors do. I don't take anything more or less from that. It's just something to notice. My question with Michigan is, I'm very curious on to why they haven't been really using his legs more. There's moments when they're doing read options with a counter, and Bryce had an opportunity, but he got sacked. And to be fair, in that one rep that I'm thinking about, Oklahoma boxed both of them, but you almost wonder if it would ease the offense a little bit more if they were to use Bryce as his legs. It feels like the Michigan offense knows he's worth $10 million. So if he gets injured or sprains an ankle, they feel like they're using that against salary cap. It's very conservative. And that's what it feels like. I understand road environment, first time true freshman, real start against Brent Venables. I get it. You can tell me all that all you want. You can tell me Klein's out. I get it. But at the end of the day, I would have wished them to kind of play with house money because that's what they kind of have. Michigan this year really doesn't have much to lose. Unless Bryce Underwood was to hop in the transfer portal. But truthfully, unless they completely flame out, which their defense and their culture is going to keep them at a higher level than most programs, Bryce, why not just let him rip? Let him learn from his lessons. Honestly, because if he plays well and he steps up to the plate and the offense looks good, he's ahead of schedule. And if not, you could chalk it up that he's a true freshman. No one's jobs are on the line. I don't know. I was very curious on why that was their offensive game plan and if they continue to do that for the rest of the year. Like I said, this is all powered by Crutchman Media, the Stadium Pulse, everything else. Quick plug, if you go check out the channel and you like NFL, you like some boxing, some NBA, we have some really good channels out there too, doing the exact same thing I'm doing. You know, I prefer mine because it's college football, but go check them out. CO Sports Show, Dubs Room, Mic Drop. These are just examples. Cowboy Space Show. Space Cowboy Show. Apologies. Go check them out. I highly recommend. Now, because week 2 was so weird, I think it's valuable to kind of speed run through some of these weird games. Now, I won't speak too much on Clemson. Clemson beats Troy in a weird matchup. I mean, I believe they had a rain delay. Troy goes up 17-0. It seems like Clemson's dead in the water. Garrett Riley is officially a guy that I'm circling as a potential hot seat contender. And we'll talk about this a little bit more on Tuesday when we're talking about Georgia Tech and Clemson, because that's a huge week 3 matchup. I'm telling you, week 3 is absolutely loaded in terms of incredibly good matchups. So I highly recommend tuning in on Tuesday. But Clemson and Garrett Riley, if they are not a team that ends up getting it together on the offensive side of the ball, Georgia Tech's beating them on the road. That is a team that has an extremely high floor. And the way that they play football at Georgia Tech, if you stall out on the offensive side of the ball, you are going to lose that football game. You're going to go down 1-2. And I don't think they'll make a college football playoff at that point. Clemson needs this game. I don't think Georgia Tech needs it in a sense that if they lose this game, they end up walking away with no chance to the ACC title. But I think Clemson, they get put in a really difficult spot if they don't win this football game. So we'll talk a little bit more about Clemson on Tuesday. Let's talk about the number 12 team in the country, Arizona State, late at night. Starkville gets another victim. Let me tell you all something personally. As a Texas A&M fan, Starkville gives me nightmares. Those cowbells give me nightmares. The fact that you're able to ring a cowbell on the opponent's offensive side of the football is ridiculous to me. But it's Mississippi State. It's college football. I can't really be that mad about it. And I can't think of a fan base that deserves a win like this more. I feel for Mississippi State fans for the past 3 years. Jeff Lebby and this team continuously fought. They got up 17-0 early. And Arizona State, knowing Kenny Dillingham, knowing the returning production, they continued to claw back. I believe it was 17-3 going into half. And they end up getting in a position to win this football game. I believe it was 20-17. And for whatever reason, I always hate, as someone that isn't a football coach, but I'll tell you this right now, I'm not calling a man blitz with I believe it's one safety over top. And especially a corner blitz where the corner stumbles because he got mixed up with the wide receiver, and Blake Shapen throws an absolute dart. An absolute dart. That was the definition of a trap game. And I'm so happy that Mississippi State got a win like that. It's just crazy to think that Arizona State, 251 yards on the ground. 251 yards on the ground, and they lose. That lands on Sam Leavitt. And to me, Sam Leavitt's not moving the needle for me. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hate on Sam Leavitt because I think he's a very solid quarterback. My comp for him coming out of the offseason, because I watched his tape, was like a Brock Purdy type. A good playmaker. A guy that can throw the ball on time. Not an elite arm, not overly accurate, but a guy that can play within the confines of a system. I thought that's Sam Leavitt. But the thing is when you take away Cam Scatabo, a guy that carried the load so much on the offensive side of the ball, was a physical force, the identity, the thumbprint of that offense, and you take that away, it's not like just replacing a running back. Like, it's not like Alabama replacing Derrick Henry. It's not like they could just backfill that with ease. And they ran for 251 yards. But there is a little bit more lift on Sam Levitt and the physicality in this defense. And 2 picks, less than 50% completion percentage, he doesn't move the needle for me. And I'm not overly concerned about Arizona State, because if you go watch the Thursday show, when we said who's overrated, underrated on the AP poll, they were not the 12th best team in the country. Utah is easily better than them. Texas Tech looks a hell of a lot better than them, but we're waiting and seeing with Texas Tech because they really haven't played anybody. Utah, I think, is going to be easily better than them. Illinois beat Duke. Illinois beat down on Duke, let me clarify. And I understand a medium form content video got released on this channel, and it started out with me saying Illinois is going to lose to Duke. And there's an overrated, underrated video where I said the exact same thing. Illinois didn't overly impress me. I'm sorry. Duke was the more physical football team. They were able to move the football more efficiently, and they had multiple red zone turnovers. 5 turnovers versus 0. You're not going to win that football game if you're Duke. Darian Mensah, I mean, come on, guys. So Illinois, I mean, they're not the 11th best team in the country to me. They're just not. Credit to them going on the road. Everyone had them losing, including myself. You still got the win. And you forced turnovers. But I still don't see this team as a contender in the Big Ten. I think they're a solid tier 2 team. But I think USC is going to be a better team than them. Maybe Nebraska. Michigan, I think, is better than them. I'm not overly impressed with Illinois. And then Iowa State. I don't think Lamar Jackson could fix this Iowa offense. You could pick Iowa. Like, this Iowa offense is forever broken to me. Mark Gronowski's not it. This coaching staff is not it. It's not going to work. Like, you can't just keep banging your head against a door and expecting a completely different outcome. Now, shout out to Rocco Beck. Shout out to the kicker for Iowa State, who should never buy a beer in his goddamn life. Iowa. It's remarkable that you can go into an entire season, watch this offense time and time again, and then go into the offseason, say, we're going to change it. We're going to bring in a new quarterback. He's going to be super dynamic from the D2. He was electric. And expect it all to change. I just can't understand why Iowa just can't just realize that they have to shake up the foundation. This is not something that you can just build a house on top of and expect change. You have to change the foundation if you want to fix this offense, because it's what's holding them back from any type of real contention. Do you remember when they got to the Big Ten title game? Betting markets had their line at 0.5 to score 1 point in each half. And nothing has changed since. Let's talk about the border war. Like I said at the beginning, the border war has no other name. It's not the border showdown. Stop changing rivalry names. ESPN, you got to stop this gimmick. It is Catholics versus convicts. It is the Red River shootout. And it is the goddamn border war. Kansas and Missouri should be played every single year. If you did not watch this football game, you missed out on an absolute treat. This is one of the most underrated rivalries in the entire country. They had a competition for a kid, a Mizzou student, to go kick a field goal to win $25,000. And he took that moment and he said, I'm going to wear a shirt that says FU Kansas and kick the ball at their sideline. I love this sport. I love this sport so much. Now, Jalen Daniels, if we're to talk about this game, I believe they had like 3 yards rushing as a team for Kansas. That's not going to win a football game on the road. It's just not. And I thought Jalen Daniels played a great game down the stretch. Gave every opportunity to potentially win this football game. But when you have a Mizzou program that is bigger, faster, and more talented than you, and you have Bo Perbula dialed in, which I did not expect. Bo Perbula, sneaky, this Mizzou team could be a college football playoff contender. Someone keep a pulse on this team, because I thought their schedule would open up that possibility. But if you have Bo Perbula dialed in the way that he is, where he was an absolute assassin. I want to get my hands on that tape, because he was incredibly dynamic. He, of course, can make plays with his legs. Ahmad Hardy looked great. Their rushing attack overall looked great. I believe it's Kevin Coleman, their wide receiver, had an incredible game. And this was back and forth. We're talking about, I believe, they were down 17-3. Early turnovers. This game looked like it was going to be like a 50-50 type of showdown, like an old Big 12 matchup. And then the game definitely slowed down. They got into rhythm. The defenses got settled in. The problem is, it's just Kansas doesn't have a second gear out of some of the heroics from Jalen Daniels. And if you're not going to be able to run the football, you're not going to win this game. I have a lot of credit to Mizzou because I did pick Kansas to win this. Truthfully, I thought Kansas was just going to have enough because I didn't know what we were getting from Bo Pribula in terms of a passer. And if he looks like that, I mean, to be honest, when we look at the SEC and a lot of these quarterbacks, I mean, Gunnar Stockton, he looks like more of a running back. Runner Stockton is the notion that they're using in Athens right now. You have Jackson Arnold, who looks more effective running the football. Marcel Reed, who looks improved as a passer, but he hasn't played against anybody yet. We'll talk about that Notre Dame game on Tuesday. Let me think. There's a Taylon Green. You have Ole Miss with Austin Simmons, who was injured, but he was moving with his legs. You have a lot of guys that can move with their legs, but who could be the assassin throwing the football? And Bo Pribula looked remarkably good. And Kevin Coleman, I get it. It's Kansas' defense. You're going to outsize them. You're going to be able to out-talent them. But the way that they won that football game was very impressive in the border war. And thank goodness this game's being played every year. I mean, sidebar, like the fact that they took away Bedlam, the Apple Cup was being threatened, all these niche rivalries, not named, the game or the Iron Bowl or the Red River Shootout. It's the niche ones that should be protected just as much as those. I can't believe that this game was gone for 11 years. I can't believe Texas A&M and Texas were gone for 11 years. Those are the matchups that I care about. I understand the TV market couldn't care less apparently about these matchups. They want to see, Oregon travel across the country to go play Penn State. And that's understandable. They're two incredibly good programs. There's no real beef between them. There's not another gear of hatred. That's what makes college football great, is the passion. It's the traditions, the pageantry. That's what I care about when I talk about college football. That's why I'm in front of a microphone talking about it, because that's what gets me up and wants to talk about this sport, because that's the differentiator between the NFL this Sunday, is that level of passion, that hatred. Healthy hatred, of course, nothing violent. I'm talking about true, good, old-fashioned hate. Name that rivalry if you can. We didn't get to Baylor SMU, which is fine. Baylor and SMU just didn't have any interest in playing any kind of defense. I think SMU is going to extremely miss. They will miss a lot of these guys that went to the NFL. A lot of these guys I was able to talk to, that's going to be the different gear. That's going to be the aspect of the team that holds them back from getting back into a college football playoff spot. Because Kevin Jennings and the offense is going to look great and all, but if you can't stop a nosebleed, and to be fair, Sawyer Robertson, incredibly good. We're talking about a guy that's going to rise up those NFL draft prospect rankings, which, heads up, if you do not know, I will be talking a lot about the NFL draft on other channels, but also here when we do get to the offseason months down the line. And if you guys want to see like my early big board, we can talk about that as well. I just don't know if there's much of an appetite for NFL draft talk. I understand this is a college football show, so it kind of blurs the lines, but if that is something of interest, please let me know. But with that in mind, guys, we've hit the 30-minute mark. You know the rules around here. We do 30-minute shows, nice, tight, quick. Tuesday, we're doing predictions for week 3, loaded slate. I've already taken a look at it. It's a loaded slate. Stick around for those. And then Thursday, we'll talk about the AP poll. I got some interesting topics to talk about as we've gotten a little bit into the season. But with that in mind, guys, thank you so much for watching today's show. I hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday. We got some NFL football. Go enjoy your Sunday. Hang out with the family. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday.